pounds choice grade sterling silver Packer brisket. When dry aging, it is important to keep everything clean. I am using gloves and I did wash the whole Packer brisket with soapy water before starting. Now I'm just drying it off. Now I recommend opening the bag just on the front so that you do not get any of the other part exposed to air. This is an umai bag. It is a special bag for dry aging. Do not get confused with vacuum bags where no air escapes. This is not wet aging, but it is dry aging. These are special bags that allows airs to escape but does not allow any air to go back into the bag. It also keeps contamination from coming into the bag from your refrigerator. It allows you to dry age at home without any special equipment. Then I like to remove as much moisture as I can using a paper towel. Because this is a large bag, I first sealed it one side, and using a special fabric, it allows me to suck all the air out using my vacuum sealer. Then you want to transfer to a cooling rack so that air circulates throughout the entire brisket. As you can see, it is now ready for dry aging. Do not be alarmed about not being able to suck all the air out. There is no way you will be able to, and that's okay. However, you should try to suck as much air out as possible. Now that we have the brisket ready, I am putting it in my regular refrigerator for a total of 60 days with nothing else to do but wait. After 60 days, I removed it from the bag and this is what it looks like. As you can see, some white mold started forming. So after consulting my favorite dry aging group, Dry Age Beef in Facebook, myself and several other members, we determined that it is okay to continue my experiment, so I did. Now all there's left to do is to trim it, and when I did trim it, I was surprised by these results. Check it out. I was completely shocked by what I was seeing. There's something that I cannot explain because as I was trimming it, the fat felt just like Japanese Wagyu A5. It was starting to melt with the touch of my hand, something I definitely did not expect. Let me remind you that this is a choice brisket, not prime, so how could it feel like a Japanese Wagyu A5? I knew that this was something very special, but I cannot explain why that was. But I was excited to cook it. I really wanted to taste the brisket, so I only seasoned with salt and pepper. Now that we have this beautiful brisket ready, it is time to cook it. I was very nervous on how to cook this brisket, and I had to pick something that was very familiar to me, something I used hundreds of times, and it never let me down. So I am cooking it on my old Weber kettle using the slow and sear. I am going to be smoking this brisket until I hit an internal temperature of 185 degrees Fahrenheit on the point. I am going to be using my lump fogo charcoal and hickory wood. I will also be spritzing it with apple juice every hour in order to keep it moist. But enough talking, it is time to cook it, so let's do it. After smoking it for several hours, I did hit a stall at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, so I decided to do the Texas Crunch, which is to wrap it in aluminum foil. This speeds up the process. Then I put it back in my cooker until I hit 185 degrees Fahrenheit on the point. Once the 185 degrees Fahrenheit was reached, I put it into the cooler and rested for 2 hours. Once the 2 hours had elapsed, I was rewarded with this.